Hey everybody, BrickLover18 here today, and welcome to another episode of Between the Bricks, the show here on YouTube where I just take you through my life and really give you a Between the Bricks look at my life in LEGO, how I came to be, and got me to where I am today. So in the very first episode, I talked about how I first got started with LEGO, like my first LEGO set, my earliest memories of LEGO, and that great stuff. This episode here, I'm going to be telling you a little bit more about the first time I ever went to the LEGO store. So this story is actually going to kick it back to 2008, and I'm very excited to tell it to you. It all started in 2008, like you would have seen from that last video. I was told right near my birthday that we were going to Disney World for the first time. Before that, I had never been to a LEGO store, nor have I even really thought about there was LEGO stores in the world, you know, like it was one of the things my parents said. Oh, and by the way, in downtown Disney, there's a LEGO store. You'll really like it, especially with your newfound love of LEGO. So I was. We flew to Disney World, and that was one of the very first things we actually did when we landed, because we had the pass that was, you know, like the 7-day pass, but you're there for 9 days or the 5, whatever it was. The first and last day when we flew into Florida, we didn't have the Disney pass, so we couldn't go to the Disney parks that day. So those are the days we went to the LEGO store, and we actually went at least twice. Maybe 3 times, I don't really remember. But basically, I remember being so excited because, hey, we're getting to go to the LEGO store. If you've ever been to the downtown Disney location, or if you've even seen like M&R's vlogs, you'll see it's a huge store. It's a flagship, way bigger than most of the other LEGO stores. So I remember, and this is all from 2008, and I don't have a lot of pictures, but I do have some that I'm going to show you, so it might not be fully up to date. But in 2008, I remember we went to the Disney store, and it's just covered in LEGO things everywhere. Like there's huge builds, there's the sea monster, there's a family, there's a T-Rex. Like it is pretty incredible. As you can see here, so many of the little builds that I'm looking at right now. My mom got pictures with my sister and I next to so many of them. It was pretty incredible. Outside they even had the place where you could build your own race car and race it with like the other kids, and LEGO store was there. LEGO store employees were there doing that. And it was just so cool. I remember this being like a really positive experience because it was my very first time at the LEGO store. When I go inside, of course, my memory is very vague. This was like 13, 14 years ago. But I remember going in and just being like, looking around and being like amazed at all the different LEGO sets that they had. At that time, like I said, I was really into LEGO Agents, so like that's what I ended up purchasing. I'll talk about that in a little bit more. But I remember just seeing the one set that I really remember seeing and I remember wanting because it was cool was the one with the gold bricks, like that town plan from I think like the 40 years. I remember seeing that and I was like, wow, that is so cool. I really want that. I really wish I could have that. And it's crazy to think back because now that set is insanely expensive. But at the time, I remember seeing it on display. I remember walking around the LEGO store with my parents, just so excited to be there, like so much LEGO. It was at that time where LEGO was making a lot of really small sets. You know, I don't know if you'll remember some of like the old, they were like 30, probably 40 pieces. They were like poly bags before they were poly bags, actually, is a good way to describe them. They were very tiny box sets that took up space on the shelves. But were like little, you know, minifigure here and there. I remember eating so many of those. There was like castle ones, knights ones, Disney, or not Disney, city. Like I got a lot of these little sets because they were pretty cheap, pretty affordable, and you could get a lot for your value. So I remember getting a lot of these box sets. I remember buying a few LEGO Agent sets, specifically the set number 5, which was the big one with the car and the gate and the helicopter. I remember getting that one. I'll put a picture of it on the screen. Just overall, like really good memories. I got one of the box sets, which was just Lego bricks, which I remember was like I wanted something. My dad was trying to help me, trying to find ways to get like just bricks. And I remember that they had the pick-a-brick wall, but at that time it was like pretty small. Or no, the pick-a-brick wall was huge. What am I saying? The pick-a-brick wall was huge, but we were like really confused with the price of it because at that time, you know, you fill a cup, you try and get as many pieces as you want. It just seemed like a more expensive way to get parts then because they were more specialty. By the time you actually fit them in, it was like, it's not really worth it. Now pick-a-brick cups are my favorite part of the LEGO store, obviously. But at that time, I remember we went against the pick-a-brick just because we were like, oh, that's kind of expensive. We don't know how to pack, like, we were like, how do you pack rectangular bricks into a circle cup? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Of course it does. I'm a business student now. Definitely makes sense. But like at that time, I remember, so we didn't get that. We got like this box set of Lego. I remember we had to get rid of some of the boxes in Disney because my parents would not take them on the plane, which makes sense. And then even the ones we did take on the plane got destroyed because we didn't bring them as carry-ons. They were stowed away, which makes sense because they weren't very valuable. But yeah, it was just overall a really good time at the Lego store. Here are some of the pictures now. I know I showed them very briefly. This one here is a picture of my dad and I at the Lego store. As you can see, it is at night. This is, I believe, the first day that we went. But we are here with these people. A little family here. My dad is showing me how cool it is that they're all made of Lego bricks, and there I am, pretty young, pretty amazed by the whole thing, and of course I've got to touch it. You know, you can't not touch the Lego bricks. Here's actually a family photo of my whole family and myself. We're actually with these people right now, you know, the little family, which was a lot of fun. And it's just pretty amazing that these were all built to Lego. I remember at the time thinking how insane it was. Here I've got a picture of my sister and I with the really cool shark and all of the fish to go around with it, which is really, really awesome. It was, again, really, really neat. And then here's a better picture of just my sister and I with the crab and not the shark. Here is a picture that we took of the sea monster, and of course the sea monster is a really cool set. I ended up getting a little polybag of that several years later, but as you can see here, the sea monster is awesome. It's just the really big face, the big head, and then of course here is a nighttime view of the first time we were here at the Lego store. You can see the big dinosaurs right there. Looks really, really awesome. Those were all really cool builds, and I don't even know if a lot of them are at the Lego store anymore, because obviously this was 14 years ago. They would have been sun-rotted and faded and all that good stuff by now, so I'm sure they've all changed, but I remember at the time was really, really awesome. Here are some pictures of me actually in the hotel room building some of the sets. I think I've showed this picture before, but here's me with the Lego Agents car, and I remember not building the whole set in Disney because I wasn't allowed. I was only allowed to build one little part, so I chose to build the car and get some minifigures out of it. And then here's a picture of my sister and I actually working on another set there, as you can see. This one here looks to be like a Lego Atlantis set. I honestly don't even remember. If I didn't have this picture, I wouldn't even remember this set at all. But it looks like it was on clearance from what I can see, so that's probably why I was building it up in the hotel room. That's why I got it. But again, I honestly do not remember that set at all. And then, like I said, we actually ended up going back to the Lego store for multiple more times. I think at least one more trip just to see it again, buy some more Lego, some things I maybe didn't buy the first time. Here's a picture of my sister and I with Santa, because I think at this time they was just putting the Santa on display. Like it was because, you know, it was just Christmas. We were there when Disney started celebrating Christmas. And as you can see in the background, look at all those town plan sets. Holy crap. Like, look how many are in the picture. You can see there are so many sets. There's probably some other really cool sets that were here at the same time, but like I said, I was 8 years old. I wasn't buying any really expensive sets like that. So from my Lego store experience, I did have a really good time. You know, I did buy some sets, and I've showed this in the past before too, but this is the Lego loyalty card. This was really cool. This is the pre-VIP program, so I got this when I went to the Disney store, or the Disney Lego store, and they were able to stamp some of my things. As you can see, my name was here. This is back when I showed it on video, and I was so afraid that people would find out my name. So I hid it there. Like you can see, covered it up with BrickLover 18. But here we've got the different circles. So when you spend $25, they would put a stamp on it to say you spent the $25. And when you got to 9, you got a $10 gift card. Or you got to 18, you got $20, which is really equivalent to the VIP now, because when you get to $100 spent, you get $5 back, versus here it was $200 spent, you got $10 back. So literally the exact same thing. Fun story about this, I got this in Disney World. I've never used it since. I actually took it to a Lego store a few years later when the VIP program came out, without knowing that the VIP program came out, and I was like, here, can you please stamp my card? And they were like, yeah, actually we don't use this anymore. Let me convert these points to your VIP account. I was like, great, thank you. So they took this and they threw it out. And I was like, oh my god. And I was very scared because I really wanted that back. Like, you all know I'm a Lego collector. Like, I still have it here. It's 14 years later. So that's when my dad actually asked for it back. And he's like, hey, do you mind if he keeps that? And it was a Disney souvenir. And the Lego store employee's like, oh my god, yeah, sorry. I didn't even realize. I was just trying to do you a favor. So that's why he wrote void on it, to know that any other Lego store in the future. That was really nice of him to do that. They could have just said, no, sorry. Like, I would have rather kept this than get the $5 in points, because I still have this. Who knows what I spent that $5 in points on. And like I said, some of the other sets that I got were from, of course, the Lego Agents, several of those smaller little Lego sets that were boxed, the Lego Brick set, apparently the Atlantis set, and that's all I can honestly remember at the time. But I remember I did get a lot of sets. I built a lot of them in the hotel room. We brought them back in like a Tupperware container and everything. Like, it was a really good experience. Overall, even though it was 2008 and this video is kind of lacking because I don't have a full memory of the time, I had a really good experience at the Lego store, and I remember always being excited to ever get the opportunity to go back to a Lego store. And it was going to be several years before I did. So that's basically, this is my first experience at the Lego store. I'm really glad I was able to show you some of these really fun family pictures and fill you in on some of what I remember seeing there. I wish I could recall seeing any of the other sets, like any big sets, but of course the biggest one was the town plan. I really do obviously regret not being able to get that one because I know how cool it would have been looking back now, having that in my city or even my collection, but that's totally okay. So thanks everybody so much for watching this episode of Between the Bricks. I hope you enjoyed hearing, my first journey at a Lego store, my first time ever. Again, it's going to be several years before I actually get back to a Lego store, so this memory definitely lasted a lifetime. I really wish I just had more pictures or videos of my time there, because I remember how being so cool, being so busy, so many people, so much Lego everywhere. It would have been cool to look back, but these pictures are pretty good, and I was glad I was able to show them to you. So thanks again so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a great day.